for you before I put my headphones on.
Just waiting for you. Just my life.
Things come to those who wait.
No, you don't start with that one. This is the longest intro we've ever had. Hey, guys.
Yo.
Hey, let's go.
We pumped up in this mug. All right. Cool beans.
Why are you excited, Joey? Why would you be excited? What is...
number one, that I'm alive. That's a pretty great excitement.
That's a good reason.
That I am the son of the Most High. That's another great reason. That my wife's hair follows me everywhere. Let's see. Can you?
That is a curly blonde
Bro,
hair. See, if
I don't understand. I find it's just. I think that's part. I didn't realize that was inside of the covenant.
I'm grateful. As similar as our wives are, I'm grateful that their hair is different, so we don't get in trouble.
Yeah.
So you get curlies on you,
Bro.
I get straights on me.
Oh my gosh, my wife's hair. That was something I didn't know was in our covenant. I didn't know that was in our covenant. Find it in places you will never think you find hair. It is ridiculous. I had sisters and never had this problem. Got a wife. That's a problem. That's what's happening right now. It's crazy.
That never happened to you before?
Never
Never?
in my life have I found things. Yeah, nope, never.
Oh, it's because your sisters were not folding your laundry.
Maybe, but my mom did. My mom helped me with my stuff growing up a lot, and then I did my own laundry.
But it was starting. This is like the most like random.
Lord. Well, it's because her hair's on me. All right, this is just all I know is I'm straight comfy.
Show us your socks, Joey. Show us your socks.
Well, let's see how many '90s babies are in this mug. Let's see. How do
what is that?
Look, another
is that
one.
Hey Arnold?
You ruined it. I was gonna show everyone.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wow, I'm so sorry, everyone. Let's see. Can you get my shot? There you go. There you go.
Hey Arnold.
Oh,
Look at that.
Yeah. Come on.
Look at that.
Living
I
the
could never
dream.
wear socks like that.
You just gotta be confident, bro.
I just don't have enough style for that.
Or
We've
you
already
just
talked
have
about
to be
this.
so humble. One of the two. I don't know which one. Just kidding. Jeez.
Guys, so this episode is special because we are officially a year into this.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's insanity.
Yep.
It took us how long to start this? Probably 4 years since we first started talking about a podcast.
Yeah. I wanted to start one back when I was in youth ministry because I was like, I think this would be really good for, youth. I could have students on, talk about testimony, like leaders on, like things like that, and kind of do it in this style, but just never did it. And then, stepped out of ministry, doing jobs. We would talk about things, but never pull the trigger.
So as long as it took us, I never thought, first of all, there's a lot of cool things you want to do.
Yeah.
And you never actually do, right? I mean, I have a long list of those things. I want to have a shorter list of those things.
Looking good as Joey. I know that's on the list.
Listen, if beards were outlawed, you'd be in deep trouble.
I'd be right now I'm a solid 7. At least a 7.
Okay.
Maybe a 6.5.
Yeah.
But you shave this thing off my face, I go to a 2 real quick.
So what's the truth? Where's the lie?
There's no lie. It is part of me. Hair is part of me.
It is part of you.
All right. But a beard is men's makeup.
Anyway, so this long list of things that we the cool things that you want to do that you never know if you're actually going to do them. I certainly didn't think that when we started it that we would be doing it for this long. It was certainly the goal at the start.
Yeah.
Hey, let's be faithful and let's just get one episode a week.
Yep. Yeah, we committed to ourselves. Let's just record one a week. And originally it was audio, and it was in my attic with microphones that were given to us,
right?
Plugged directly into your computer.
Yeah.
In the most ghetto rig set up in the world.
That's right.
And we would be laying on the floor. We'd be pacing,
walking around.
We purposely bought like a 50-foot. Well, I purposely bought a 50-foot cord because I knew you and I would end up pacing. Now we've been very confined and stuck
this is
here.
actually hard.
Yeah, this is very, very difficult. But started out there, and then and then I had some cameras, and we kept wanting. We actually tried to start, if you remember. We tried to start with cameras, and we were using our iPhones. We were literally recording our iPhones.
Yeah, that did not work.
And well, it did, but the issue was
it's too heavy.
Our phones are over there, like, just like, what are you doing to me right now? You're recording for an hour. And yeah, that was, so we actually have some like hidden episodes that are on our phones that are literally like, we can't even get them off because it's such a large size.
So in a year of doing this, what have you, by the way, this is the room for the Holy Spirit here.
Even though my knee's kind of in a space.
If you were in the youth, in youth group, you know, this is room for the Holy Spirit.
Room for the Holy Spirit. He's trying to touch my leg. Do you see that? I saw
that. So what is something a year into this? We haven't prepared these answers. So
No.
What is something a year into this? By the way, I think I'm going to look at you over there because this kind of hurts over here. I'm going to look at you over there because the screen is...
I'm leaning. I'm literally leaning and looking at you.
So what is something a year into this that you feel that you have learned as a person and as a man after having this endeavor of a podcast, and specifically our podcast for a year?
That consistency and creativity can be very difficult when like you're not being paid for it, because your brain wants to go all the way to the things that like can take care of your family, take care of your, things like that. And so like within the podcast, like I really, we do spend a bit of time, but we used to spend a lot more. And then we like narrowed it down to like, okay, we're not being paid for this. We don't have, all these things coming in. We make no money. We've been investing, which we're probably going to end up talking about this. Like we've been investing into it for the past year, like our own money, our own everything. And so that whole process of like narrowing it down to one day, we edit, we shoot, we try to make all the reels, we try to do everything on this one day,
which is a big commitment because that is a fifth of our entire work week.
Yeah.
So that's
more than that.
That's a big. It's a
20th
out of five. Well, that's 20th is a fifth.
Oh, I thought you meant like 5%. My bad. I apologize. That's my fault. I misunderstood that.
So a fifth of our work week is editing, recording, and everything.
I said it
like
today.
That.
I was like, it's our tithe.
And
like I've never said that before because like we're trying to focus, but we're thinking about our businesses and jobs and things we got to do. And it's like, all right, bro, let's focus on this. It's our tithe. And I was like, oh, that was good. Okay, keep moving. Because it's just like, because it is like, we do this. I mean, we do this on a Monday right now. We do this on our Monday. It is a day of the work week. We go from pretty much 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We try to focus on this podcast of creativity, inviting people, editing, doing reels, post, like anything that we could think of regarding the podcast, what we call our prolific follower, like just trying to help people be more, fruitful follower. We focus on it, and it can be hard because we both are real estate agents. We have our own company. And we have a lot of clients. We have a lot of people that, ask of us and things of that. And I'm like, okay, let's just focus. We can do this. and it's tough. And,
which, by the way, if you are, I wasn't planning on doing this either, but if you are a business owner, more specifically in the contracting world, Prolific Maven is a company that funds everything that we do. And so if you want to, quote unquote, support what we do, and also get a great benefit for your own company, we do a lot of really awesome work in marketing infrastructures. We build software for companies so that they can run their operations very, very smoothly. We connect all their lead generation websites directly to CRMs where they can manage their clients. And
we do consulting. We come in and like see stuff very differently. And so, we do a lot.
So give us a shout.
A lot of stuff. And if you want to run ads, you want to run ads, is something we've been doing. We've been talking to a couple people that like, hey, maybe you're a small company or something like that, and you want to run ads on our podcast. We have a lot of listeners, and I apologize for sniffing in your ear, everyone. I apologize, but I feel like I'm about to sneeze, so I'm trying to stop that right now. But yeah, if you want to run ads and talk to a gym, talk to a lot of different people about that, and so but in the year, we've had some crazy conversations, man.
Yeah, we have.
We've had some fun ones. We've had some real ones. We've had one we've continued to want to talk about to remove, the Discord one. That's a fun one. And then, dude, we've had rushing the call, leaving the call. We've had, young and married. We've had a #1 porn star on our podcast.
Yeah.
We've had a man that's cheated on his wife and they've been redeemed on our podcast. We've had a man that was unsaved and got a divorce and they got remarried and
That's
got
a blended
saved,
family.
blended family. We have, oh my gosh, we had someone that was at the bombing the day of October 7th of the bombing in Israel, the initial beginning of a war in 2023. We have had, dude, I can keep going. Like, we've had a lot of people.
What's interesting to me about all that, bro, is that, when you set out to do something, I forget who said this statement to us, but
#Alejo Butraca.
I don't know who said the statement to us, but it's one of my new favorite statements. Build a plane as you fly it.
It was Megan.
It was a Megan.
Megan was talking about one of her pastors
saying
that was
we
like they were
build a
trying to
plane
do
as we fly
missionary.
it.
Yeah, and I literally looked at Leo. I was like, God, why'd you give him that? Because now he's gonna be saying that all the time.
I love that statement, and I think that's just a very real way to look at life, period. Like when you're parenting, you're building the plane as you fly. When you're doing marriage, you're building the plane as you fly. When you like everything, business. And so something that's really cool to me, and some of you guys might not know this, but like the way that these conversations have come about and how the podcast has developed has been very organic. Like the Lord has just really brought to us people that are like for that time, for that season to speak to us. And I think something that's really cool to me, bro, in this first year of doing the podcast is I think that most people never do the thing they're really excited to do because they don't have all the steps ahead of them. And I'm just very proud of us for getting started and not knowing what the heck was going to happen and how we were going to do it. And then just like figuring it out. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we had some real conversations.
We have fought. Listen, we have fought. We have freaking, it's, but just like with everything that's worth it and that's special, like, I mean, a year after doing this, man, like I feel like this is such an important part of my life. Like, to such an important way in which I get to live out the call God has for my life, and I imagine that you feel the same way.
Yeah, I call it my scratching of the itch. That's what I call it.
Yeah. I feel like my obligation. I feel like Paul said in Romans chapter 1 that he felt obligated to people, and I just feel obligated to share God's word, to share what life looks like with Him, like all that stuff, and so for me this first year, like I'm just super proud of us for just getting started and not knowing what we were doing. I want to encourage anybody that like has like God dreams like that in your heart, that you don't know all the steps, like all you can see is maybe like that next step. Maybe all you have, like we did, was a longing to serve God and one step in front of us,
just
like,
take it.
Take the step, and then God's going to build on it.
I'd say this. Jesus mentions it, but he's specifically talking about like counting the cost of following him, but like count the cost too. Like this has costed us a lot. This has costed us time.
It's costed us a lot more than we expected.
Oh yeah. And it's not just cost us a lot. Like when I say cost, like a lot of people are like, oh, financially, like, financially financially we've been investing into this like most for the past year. Like there's been a few people that have given us quote unquote free things, but it was actually before the podcast. It was like whenever I was doing videography stuff and like half the set originally was just from a guy that was like, hey, I'm kind of done doing videography stuff. Like, do you want this stuff? Like, absolutely.
Which is crazy to think about God's plan and purpose.
Yeah. Oh, dude, don't even get me started on that stuff. And then the thought of like, we now have, again, we started in my attic. But now we have an office that also is like a studio for our company. But in reality, we make jokes about this. In reality, we have this office
for the podcast
to have a podcast set.
It's not a joke. It's because everything we do is remote. Yeah. Every bit of work that we do does not require an office whatsoever. And so this podcast, and so again, like just I want to encourage like your like God dreams in your heart, because like it really doesn't make sense. Yeah. The amount of money that we invest into the podcast compared to the quote unquote return that we have, like monetary, like it doesn't make any sense. But that lets you know that there are some things in life that are so worth it, that are more valuable than money itself. They're more valuable than time itself. And so,
I picture Paul, like when, you brought up it's an obligation. I think of when the Lord speaks to Paul and says, I have been bound by the Holy Spirit to go here. Like I'm bound. Like I got to go over there, Yeah, and that's how I've always felt since I was 16 with like teaching and communicating and sharing and leading, like that type of level of like, just like, give me this word and let me put it in front of someone. Let me, like, and that, like the fruit of the Spirit alone has been something since I've grown up that my parents have like used to have me quote when I was ticked or when I was like living certain things. It'd be like Galatians 5, 20, 22 through 25. No. And I quote it all the time. My parents would have me spell like self-control. My parents would have me spell like no obedience, like slow obedience.
I love to hear about
like
this Christian discipline because I didn't experience any of it, of course, because my parents were not Christian. So
or attitude. Oh my gosh, you know how many times my parents had me? They'd be like, they'd look at me. I didn't have to say you're having attitude. They'd look at me and be like, spell attitude. I'm like, and just like ticked off, because what I love about it now, looking back, it being turning 30 here in a month.
You know what I'm gonna do now when you have an attitude.
Oh my gosh! But literally, because it would trigger the word that's been established in me, that there's the fruit of the Spirit and there's the fruit of the flesh. And so when I would have attitude, it was my flesh. 90% of the time, it was my soul that was out of control, and I needed to have self-control. And so my dad would just look at me and smile. I'd be like, and make me even more mad, make me even more filled with attitude. But my spirit would be like, oh yeah, he's right. But my soul and my flesh is like, yeah, but I want to friggin' throw things at him, like, just ticked off. But in reality, it would trigger those things. And so what's so funny to me is then we start a company that's all around fruitfulness. On people being fruitful. It's all around people like abiding and then having fruit that lasts in season and out of season, like all of these things. And then we have we don't just have a company that helps businesses with that, but then we have a podcast and we're trying to develop courses, we're trying to develop teachings and materials for people to be able to have a fruitful follower of Jesus, and things that have boiled out that we're like, we never thought, we were just trying to do a podcast.
Well, and at the same time, you never thought, but I feel like this is a really cool part of life. I know a lot of the people that listen to this are people in their 20s, and I just left my 20s, so I'm not talking to you like I'm above you.
You're an old man,
just turned 31,
bro.
So
Ooh, you didn't just. It's 2 years ago. Come on, bro. You got 2 years, bro.
What do you mean?
It's 2 years, bro.
I'm 31 and a half, dude.
Okay, 2.5 years. Okay, you added more.
I said I just turned 31, not 30.
But you said you left your 20s.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So,
anyway,
about to leave
that just
my 20s.
testifies to the fact that I barely feel like I'm out of my 20s. I feel like I'm still in my 20s. Sometimes I feel like I'm still 18.
He's an old man. It's okay.
But anyway, what I was saying about that is that you often feel like, and especially I see it a lot in people that are younger now, because there's so much comparison with people doing things at a really high level and social media and stuff like that. You see people so filled with anxiety and tension about figuring out their thing, figuring out the thing that that's important to them and stuff like that. And I feel bro, at 31, I am finally, the podcast is a version of this. I feel like I'm finally coming to, I am finally understanding some of the reasons and the ways that God intended me for me to live on this earth and to and how to be Alejo. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's really encouraging because it's the result of something that we started. We just had a God longing and we started to walk towards it, and then what had no form. What had no form. The Spirit of God gave form to and order, and He continues to give it order.
He hovered over the chaos.
That's why I said it like that. And so it's just really cool. It's really cool to just see to see it turn to what it is, to see the change in us, and I think. Also, as my buddy, I think it's really a really cool way in which God has yoked us and like put us together to like serve him, and like figuring that out as well, and like the constant submission and surrender in the process, because you want to do things one way, I want to do things one way, and we probably each have thoughts here and there where we go, I could do it faster and better if I did it by myself. Yeah. But then God purposefully slows you down so that you can grow in the process, you know?
Because you need people. Like in reality, I've heard this quote a lot. I don't know, some of you guys may have never heard it, but it's like, if you want to go far, go with someone. But if you want to go fast, go by yourself, and in reality, like our whole podcast and everything we try to do in reality is like, I don't just want to produce fruit. I want to produce fruit that lasts, because again, I could go produce fruit. I told you and who knows, maybe one day I will have another thing too, or one day you might have your own thing too. Like at the same time, we might be doing this and separate. I don't know. I don't care. Like again, however the gospel goes forth, the gospel goes forth. But like I whenever we were talking about it, I had a whole podcast name and all this stuff. It was gonna be called Cleaning Under the Rug, and the logo was a rug because my last name is Ruggiero, and I got that nickname in college where my buddy Carlos literally was like, "The rug, I'm sweeping you." It was actually, we just hung out the other day. And he was like, "Do you remember where you got that nickname?" I was like, "No." He was like, "Bro, it was back when one of the first years, second years in college, we were bowling, and like I'd like throw a gutter ball or something like that." He's like, "Sweeping the rug." He's like going like, "Freaking jerk." And so he's like that's where that joke became a rug, Gotcha. And I was like, "This is great. Like I love that." And then as I was processing through, the Lord was like, "Let's get stuff that's people are burying under the rug. Let's clean it out." And I was gonna do a whole just real episode and like have real stuff, and but what I love is, again, like without you and without the conversations that we have, the people we've connected with and all these things, like God's done some amazing things just because we said yes. Yeah. And in that yes though, which we've talked about before, like in that yes, we've said no to other things.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And there's a lot of things that, like, the understanding in our lives that, like, every yes does say no to something, And, someone actually, I think he's dropping before this. We had an incredible conversation with Joel Myers, which we met at a Starbucks one day, super randomly. He's an amazing man. And God is gripping his heart, and God is doing some amazing things in him too. I'm so excited to see what the Lord's going to do through him. But like our conversation was so real of the great deception of like what life and world throws at us. But yet if we didn't say yes, which cost us so much, we probably wouldn't have been able to have a real conversation with Joel and be able to share that. If we didn't say yes, Joshua Broom, we wouldn't have been able to have the opportunity because of Pastor Joey to be able to share a conversation with him. Yeah. Right? Like Roberto Torres, like his conversation about the sin that he walked in, and the redemption that he's living in now, and the healing that he's in now with his wife because of Jesus, wouldn't have had that conversation. Yeah. Like even us being able to talk about the rushing of our calls, and like when do you leave or when do you stay? Like dude, we have had 52, like I wish I could like read off all of our like episodes, but we had 52 conversations for 52 weeks.
And you probably do like a screen record of like of the episodes, like scrolling all the way through.
And like YouTube doesn't have everything, because again, we weren't on YouTube like for the past like 5 months, I think.
By the way, we say 52 episodes because all of our episodes that were where we started with just audio, they're on Anchor, they're on podcast platforms. So Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that stuff. So if you're like 52, I don't see 52. That's because most of them we started with video.
We're right around half. We're almost right on half. And what's so funny is you can even see how the video has changed, which is why I love having it. Is our first video, my boy Alejo is talking like this. Yes. And where I'm like, what is going on right now? and it's so funny. But and then you see it beginning to evolve. You see it changing. You see it like you see our edits getting better. You see just everything. Our goal behind everything is like, in which we said this a lot because I'm particularly like a perfectionist in a lot of ways. Like I like to try to have everything like kind of ready before you launch. And he's definitely a I gotta make sure we're good on time because we're all by ourselves in here right now. But he's definitely a fire aim ready guy, and I am a aim ready fire guy. And at least in some things I've learned that about myself too.
Let me fix that. I am a fire ready aim guy, and you are ready aim.
No, I'm a ready
Fire.
aim ready.
Ready?
And we're good. And which is so funny because like in other areas, I just fly by the seat of my pants. But certain things I'm pretty like pace and like stuff. And I never noticed how much I was of that until I started rubbing shoulders with this man. Like because back when I was in a youth ministry, I thought I hated planning. And like people are like, oh yeah, you're not a big planner and like all these things. And then my Pastor Joey, Pastor Joey would be like, I remember when I transitioned out, he literally had a conversation with me like 3 months later because I gave him a flash drive. I gave him all this stuff. It was like, here's the next year, And like 3 or 4 months later, he comes up to me, he's like, man, you did a lot more planning and like scheduled out and things than I thought. And I was like, really? Like, and then he like ran over stuff and like you don't realize.
And when I transitioned out, I was like, y'all got this right. No, I was just like that. I stayed there to transition the next time.
You served there for a while. Yeah.
So I want to read these off. So how about you pull up YouTube on your phone?
Okay.
And let's read off the top 3 episodes. I'm gonna read them off on Anchor, and you read off YouTube. Okay.
Let me. You're gonna have to deal with this because we're all by ourselves right now in the studio.
Okay.
Let's do a quick clip. Hey, if someone wants to donate a couple Black Magic Cinema cameras so we never have to do this again, I'll receive it. I will never complain. Hey. But we gotta pause the cameras because we're gonna. Yeah.
Okay. Ready? Okay. Ready? What is happening?
What is going on?
Sorry. Let's do it again.
Do it again.
What the?
All right, so let's rate the top 3 episodes. What?
Bro, what just happened?
I don't know what you're talking about.
You didn't?
All right. Top 3 episodes.
Okay.
Top 3 episodes on Anchor.
Steve, people that are just listening to us on Spotify are like, what just happened?
I don't know
why are there 14 claps going on right now. Y'all are just going to have to go watch that on YouTube to watch what just happened. Just because. Okay.
So top 10 episodes, which actually looking at this is giving me a good sense of what people care about. So the first episode or the top episode on Anchor, which was 108 views, was "I'm Not Attending Your Wedding," which was Tara and I's episode.
Yep.
The second episode, 65 views, was "Dealing with Divorce as a Christian." That's when we had Tang Fam as a guest. And then number 3 was "Most Important Currency in Marriage," 61. So all were 61, or all of those views. That's 100 or 230 views that were all surrounding marriage. And
particularly on podcast. Yeah,
on the podcast, right?
So that's on the audio only.
Yeah, and then So what about?
Well, that's what's hard.
So I know Joshua is probably top 1.
Yeah, I'm actually struggling at the moment to find exactly what we need to do here. I'm going to sort by most viewed. So most viewed is a little bit different than like likes and everything, but most viewed is our former porn star Joshua Broom, encounters the Lord, and then the next one is "Why Does God Delay His Promises?" with Megan Millar. Right. Then the next one is 20 and Engaged with Colin Cambry.
Nice.
And then the following that one is it's with Tang Fam. I'm trying to see which one it is. Consistency lacking. And then the one that just dropped a few days ago is right below that at 108 views with "I Cheated on My Wife." And then "This Is Not a Thrift Store," spoiled Christian milk.
All right, that's good. Blended milk.
Bro,
my boy's about to read all the titles.
But I love
I said, read the top 3. Read the top 3. The number 75.
Hey, but one thing I will give, one thing we do got, those reels though. Those reels have been, they've been killing the game.
Come on.
I'll just say one of them. Let's just do a quick most viewed. Our most viewed one, we have like multiple ones, but it's focusing too much on money. Cost me everything. And then when Paul says women are weaker, of course, you gotta love that one. Everyone loves to be like, what is this thing? I'm gonna click it. And then lying, how insecurity drives us to create. And then you can look at something and then not look away. But dude, it's been, and these are just on our YouTube shorts.
And our most viewed just piece of content altogether was Attraction, which was
it's Joshua Brooms.
On
Instagram.
You're right.
Yeah,
so
we had 100,000 or something.
So the
like
one
that.
about Fame by Joshua Broom.
Yep.
And then Attraction was second. But yeah, so super cool, man. It's just crazy. It's crazy. And so I don't know if this happens to you now, Joey. So I meant to tell you guys this. Something that I've taken away from this year is this. Ever since
You sound like Michael Scott right now.
is this. Ever since I got saved and I entered the Christian world, I have observed people who are waiting on the sidelines, hungry to be invited into a platform or influence. And they wait and they wait and they wait until a pastor or a church or some sort of religious organization tells them it's okay to minister or gives them permission to do it. And something that I've learned this year is that all God is looking for is a yes.
Yep.
For you to be faithful with the things that are right around you, the opportunities that He's put right in front of you. And so for me, this is really encouraging because, as some of you guys have heard on the podcast, we used to work at a church, and
we still love the church.
One of the lies that I believed leaving was that God couldn't use me unless I was on a church staff, which sounds super silly, but lies are silly, and so this is really encouraging to me because a year into this, man, this is such, in my opinion, and I want to, this is a daring thing to say, but I'll say it.
Alejo's opinion. I'm not going to agree to this until it gets done.
No, this is mine. This is mine. This is mine. This is not Joey. This is not the Holy Spirit. This is me.
You know, Paul says that. Paul writes down, this is not a command from God.
So I just feel like this is so pure. I do. I feel like it's just a product of like a real friendship and a real walk with Jesus, and like we don't have to like really try to do this. There's not like we have fun with it. Like we do silly stuff, dumb stuff that is like us. And so anyway, my encouragement to you with what I just said is stop waiting for an opportunity to come up by somebody else's hand or from somebody else's platform or authority. Would you just serve God now? Like with whatever you have. It doesn't have to be a podcast. I'm not saying everybody needs to start a podcast. Would you preach to your neighbor? Would you start a Bible study with people that are in your circle? There are so many things right here, right now that you can have access to as a Christian person to minister and to do something that matters in the world.
And remember, you don't have to do the same thing that everyone else is doing. Like that's something that, at times for me.
And you also don't have to be overly unique.
Yes.
Like people have been studying the Bible. For thousands of years. You can just do that.
Yes. And so like that's something for me particularly. Like I love creativity. I love uniqueness. I love difference. And at times I'm like, well, I don't want to like reinvent the wheel, but like I want to do something different. So, it's just different. And most creatives, in a sense, I've learned like think like that. The more I've gotten to know other people, I'm like, oh, you think like that too. Okay, so I'm not crazy, but it also can be a weakness because sometimes you won't start because you feel like it's to the same of something, or you will freeze yourself, you'll stunt yourself because you're unwilling to do the same thing someone else is doing.
Somebody's already doing it.
And so in reality, like just be real and honest that like just be obedient to what the Lord's called you. And we were talking about this before this episode is the question, can I have your platform? And the scripture that I instantly think of was Moses and Joshua. Like my boy Joshua got blessed to just take the Israelites into the promised land. And I feel like many, many times, most of us, and I can say this, when I say most of us, I'm speaking from me. I've been there. Where literally I'm like, hey, you've done all this hard work. You've gone through all the plagues. You've gone through Egypt. You got us out. Hey, the Lord used you to get us through the river. Hey, manna from heaven. Hey, the 10 Commandments. Come on. You're the best. You've done some hard work. And then Joshua gets to reap the benefit of fruit he has never sown. And that was taking the Israelites into the promised land. Right? And now he had to go fight it and conquer and all that world, but like he took those steps in, right? And I think sometimes we as believers and followers of Jesus and ministers, we are looking for the Moses that we can follow and try to become favored in his eyes, that at some point he will hand me all of the anointing, all of the authority, all of the gifts that he has. So I don't have to work for it. So I don't have to sweat for it. So I don't have to bleed for it. So I don't have to pray for it. So I don't have to have the faith for it. So I don't have to just get into this world of like, guess what? Oh, wait a minute.
You're preaching so much. Look at this double chin right here.
Because, and I'm gonna be honest, I've been that human being.
Yeah.
I have been that person where I'm like, man, I love this leader, but man, he also has all of this authority and all of this stuff. Let me follow him really close, because man, one day, if the Lord allows me to be part of this ministry, maybe one day he'll pass it to me. Oh my gosh, when in reality, dude.
And then what we really want. Ooh, careful now.
Well, it's pride.
What we really want.
It's pride. It's glory. It's greed. It's girls.
It's
It's influence. And so, like,
glory,
I get burdened in it, because in reality, like, I've seen it. When you see it in your own reflection, oof, this is gonna hurt. This hurts me, as it just came to my head. When we see it in our own reflection, we tend to get disgusted when we see it in someone else. If we see it in our own reflection, we tend to get disgusted when we see it in someone else. What I mean by that is this. I get really disgusted when I see someone doing that. When I see someone like just buttering up to someone, like following a leader because of a certain thing and like all that stuff. I'm like, oh, I'm so disgusted by that. And then I literally I've seen it in the mirror, but yet I'm unwilling to admit that I've seen it in the mirror. It's pride. It's wickedness. It's our sinful nature. It's just our soul and our flesh leading the way, right? Getting the plank out of my own eye, like actually getting the log out of mine when I see a plank in someone else,
No. See the speck.
The speck in someone's eye. Yeah. Some translations say log and plank. But
the
I
log
like
and
the
plank
log,
is the same.
bro. I like the log. That's just like, go get a log out of your own eye. Well, that's quite dramatic.
The 2x4.
Just pulling out of my eye, bro. And dude, that process alone, like even through this whole thing, like we've talked about a couple times, this has costed us a lot. It's cost us time with our family, friends. It cost us with our own friendship. Like we've had to have really, real hard conversations.
There have been things, bro. Let's talk about that for a minute. There have been things in our friendship that we probably miss.
Oh yeah.
That we used to have.
Yep.
Before we had something of great importance to do together.
Yep.
Ooh, let's talk about this for a minute. Like we were not going here. So there are things, and I was actually grieving this weekend, by the way.
Yeah, I was.
Just considering that there are. So follow me here. This is about to be a run-on thought, but just give me a minute to unpack
sentences?
it. Yeah,
I live in those.
When you have people in life who are simply acquainted to you but don't have great purpose with you.
I'm fixing my microphone as I do this. Keep going.
I'm very distracted.
Why? I'm just fixing my cable. My microphone was frozen.
When you have people in your life who are acquainted to you but don't have a great purpose with you, it is easy to maintain a relationship where there is not too much rub and there is mostly bliss and joy. But when God yokes you with people to both be acquainted with and carry out a profound purpose, there are things that have to die in the journey that you also have to grieve, but hopefully by the Spirit of God, you are able to fix your eyes on the higher calling, the greater goal, right? And what do I say that? I say that because I've observed a lot of people with great purpose in the church part when their journey of great purpose brings too great a discord, too great a qualm.
It's been our word the past month. I got a qualm on this thing.
So I haven't told this to Joey. This is actually my first time saying it to him, but it's crazy to me, bro. And it's a part of life and a part of like my walk that I don't love. You know, I'll be honest with you. I am very sad about some of the things that have died in our friendship as we do things that God's called us to do. But at the same time, I have to fix my eyes on who God's calling me to be, who God's calling us to be, and how His greater purpose serves us even when it hurts.
Yeah. I picture like.
Have you felt the same thing?
Oh yeah. I picture like Silas and Paul.
Silas and Paul, yeah.
And like in that moment where like, you know, Paul feels such a passion to go and preach the gospel in a certain area. And Silas is like, no man, we need to go here, you know? And they part ways, but they do it in like, so they didn't do ministry together. Like it separates them, right? And like I see that moment and I'm like, Lord, you know, and I've learned this too, that most friends, I got this from my dad, most friends are seasonal. Like I know that. Like most friends are seasonal, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just understanding that. It's just like, I mean, and as real as this
that's
is,
a hard reality about life.
Well, this is what's even, it's about to get even more real for me. Like I see my child and I'm like, there's one thing I can't protect her from. And that is the pain of death, of watching loved ones go. Because that's the one guaranteed thing that my daughter is going to experience one day. And like, cause that's one thing that shook me. Like sin, like wickedness and sin was like real. It was heavy for me. Like, you know, battling pornography for years was real for me. My pride, my anger, you know, I could fill up the list, deception, cheating. Oh yeah. I can fill up the list of the stuff that like I've done. But the thing that wrecked me is death, the separation of life from someone, right?
Yeah.
And so like, friendship aspect and like things that we take steps away, like there's a certain moment in me that most of my friends, I know that like, bro, I heard this, it's funny, I said this to my family the other day for one of my my niece that's a miracle, her name's Mireya, and she shouldn't be alive by the world standards, right? And she had her 1 year birthday, bro. Like there's so much testimony that alone. So we were there and we were just talking and all the kiddos are asleep. I'm talking with my sister, my brother-in-law, my mom, and I was like, yeah, I heard someone say this, and at first I'm like, nah, that's not true. And it was that everyone has a different version of you. Everyone does.
Yeah.
Your parents see a different version of you.
Yep.
Your friends see a different version of you. Your business sees your employees, whatever. You fill in the blank. Everyone has a different version of you. There's actually no one that actually sees the full you.
Except the Lord, of course.
Except for the Lord. And so that, I was talking to my siblings about that. I was like, yeah, like, you know, my mom doesn't see me as a business owner. She sees me as her little boy, you know, that's doing cool things, you know? And I love that. And then talking to my sister, like my sister doesn't see me in all of these ways. And it was actually Augustini, my boy, who appeared in the center. If you guys are watching on YouTube.
What are you talking about?
What are you talking about? Nothing happened. That him and I were talking about, it's like the question that, you know, one day we need to ask the question is to each other. I'd love to ask this. How do you see me? And like what do you see Joey when you see him? Like, and then, what do I see Alejo as, you know? And as friends, I've realized that like, just as we walk through life, that there are people that like, you know, they're in season, And then there's some that are there for many years. There's some that are only there for a year. And does that make that other person is less than? Does that mean that other person, like whatever it might be? No, I've realized there's a certain point where like, only way I can put it is this. If I throw seed on the ground and I do everything to cultivate it, but yet that plant was only supposed to be alive in this field for a certain period of time. There is nothing more I can do.
Yeah, for sure.
Now I will cultivate it. I will prune it. I'll do everything I can. And I think sometimes, speaking to my life, I think sometimes there's friendships we are continually trying to water, prune, keep alive because they're so near and dear and it provided so much fruit for many, many years of our lives that in reality, that friendship, now it doesn't mean that their ties are gone. Like, oh, I hate you. I'm done with you. Yeah, the relationship's done. But like where friendship in me is like, you do life with this person, you know, like I got a lot of acquaintances that know Joey, but I don't have a ton of friends that know, like they know of me, but don't know me. You know, it's the intimacy level, you know? And I feel like at times we may be actually getting annoyed at this friend. I'd be getting frustrated at this friend when in reality, maybe it's just the season's coming to an end. And that's not it's a bitter thing to think about, but it's a sweet thing to think about. Because the reality of it is that like the friendships, the people we have in our lives, like that's why I brought up like death aspect. Instead of being so concerned with one day we're going to deal with death, I want to share with my child, yes, one day death is real, my love. Like one day you're going to deal with it. One day mommy and daddy are going to be gone. One day papa and nana are going to be gone. One day like friends are going to leave, like all these things. It's going to happen. But instead of thinking about the end in mind, you can be grateful, but be in the present and enjoy and receive everything you can from the season. Because again, do I know if you're going to move away from me? Probably. Someday. Like I don't know. It could be a thing. I don't know.
Yeah,
the Lord could call me to Alaska.
Yeah, we never
Lord, please don't. But like it could. But it's like I'm just gonna enjoy the season.
Well, and I think that's the case with friendship in general. But I meant more so like, and that's good. Everything you said is really good because I've experienced it already. I mean, I'm 31. I'm only 31, and I've already experienced that. Multiple times, like not just one time.
Right. But, it's something there's no book. There's no book you can read.
No, and
there's
then
nothing you can like. You just have to experience it.
What nobody tells you too is that like part of life sometimes can be wishing for those past seasons to come back. You know, and like,
and that's not a bad thing.
No.
Like I used to feel guilty. I used to feel guilty being like, man, like college days, bro. I loved ministry school. Some people, that I went through it don't really enjoy it, or they look back on it in a negative view. Like, dude, there is so much fun in it. Was it difficult? Heck yeah. Was there stuff that I disagree with? Yeah, but like, dude, it was beautiful, man. Like I had so much fun. Like it just, I can get all fired up in that stuff. Because it's just, again, like it's your decision. If you're gonna look for a red car, you're gonna see the red cars.
Well, no, and
you're like going.
That's a whole
to,
different cover. Like we can go into the whole. But I think in general, to go back to like what we were saying, like there can be an ease into, like wishing some seasons were back, and nobody tells you that part of life that like there are some things that just like recede, and then you just have to continue to walk forward. But I think it's really profound. Like after a year of doing this, even our relationship has changed. Even the way we like address each other has changed. Like even the things that are important to us have changed. The endeavors that we have changed. And it's like in some ways, in many important ways, it hasn't changed. But yeah, it's like it's really profound how like how as you do what you feel God has called you to do, there's always going to be something that dies in the process,
Well, it costs you something. There's a sacrifice.
Yeah, and like for example, on a basic level, like you have to come to a face-to-face with like your issues and your stuff, you have to face the fact that you maybe are hard to work with sometimes, you know what I mean? Like that's something that I've had to experience. Like, I go back home and I'm like,
because I'm a big dummy, so I'm hard to work with.
No, seriously. No, like I'll go back home and I'm like, man, sometimes I'm really hard to work with, and I'll just sit with that. And then like, but God does so much in that, you know what I mean? Like God does so much in like, just like community and like carrying, something that I love about the Ark of the Covenant is that not one person could carry it by themselves. It was like, it was the job of a community. It was the job of like multiple people,
Right.
And I think that's really profound, right? Because can you imagine how proud and how arrogant the one person would have been if they carried it?
And it was a group too. It was a specific group.
Yeah. But like, I just think it's really profound how when people carry stuff together, they have to grow or they have to run. One of the two. They have to grow. You have to grow or you have to run. You have to grow, you have to, or you have to put it down.
Which by the way, growing means change. A lot of people want growth. They don't want change. A lot of people want authority, but they don't want humility.
Right.
A lot of people want leadership, but they don't want to be led.
Right.
Like there's so many things, and these are all things that I have processed through.
Yeah, right.
Because they're all things that are deadly in most men and women that we want the authority and the privilege of leadership, but we don't want the cost that comes with it. We don't want the responsibility of it. Again, that's why I believe, that's why many times we see marriages crumble. That's why we see fatherhood and I'll say fatherhood particularly. I'll target this for a reason. Why we see fatherhood is they want the authority that their dad had, but they don't want the responsibility that their dad had. Right. And so guess what? Whenever crap starts hitting the fan, you either have a realization of how much your dad actually did for you, even if it's a bad relationship, even if there's negativity. It's the same aspect again, where can I have your platform? Like that question. Hey, can I have your authority? Yeah. It's like Elisha and Elijah.
But do you want, what do you really want?
Yeah, like
do you want just want the influence, want the permission, or I was having this conversation with my dad, bro, because we were talking about marriage and the concept of marriage, and I wish
Come on, talk about it. Talk about it a little bit. Go on.
The concept
Try
of
to be on target here, on topic, but talk about it.
Well, it's just along with like getting benefits and no responsibility.
Right.
Then my dad said this statement. He said, "I just don't understand why we have to pretend like when we get married, we lose our freedom." And I was like, he said, "We're obligated." And I said, "Well, you had a choice, didn't you?"
Yep.
Nobody forced you to get married.
I've heard that.
It's like nobody forces you to have sex with somebody unless you get actually forced to do it, right?
People take that, be like, oh, you don't care about. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about one thing. Good Lord.
No, we do care. But I'm talking about you make a choice that you're not obligated to make. And then you scorn the fact that now you have a responsibility to that choice. So what I was telling my dad was, well, the point of marriage is to relinquish part of yourself. That's the point. Like you can't walk with another person.
Two becoming one. So stuff has got to break and blend. And
I mentioned that, like the two becoming one. Yeah. He was like, well, like I just think I don't understand. I was like, well, and this is what I said. I said, do you think that a good, healthy marriage is a marriage that has the most personal freedom for each person? Or do you think a good, healthy marriage is the marriage that has the most surrender and the most giving away of? Like what do you like if you put them both next to each other, which one do you think would thrive?
Which one do you think would actually continue in covenant?
Right. And so I think and like
that's what's hard. Again, we know, well, if you have heard the story of his dad, his dad isn't saved yet. His dad doesn't know Jesus yet. He's heard about him. But it's going to take root in Jesus' name.
In Jesus' name.
And so that's where the conversation of marriage and like stuff like that. It's just very different because he sees his son living a very different life. He's seen his son live humbly.
No,
in
the
a way
funny
that
thing
he's
about
like
this is a completely
things.
different conversation. We'll touch on it a different time, but the funny thing about my dad, to finish that conversation, is that he acknowledges that my marriage is a good marriage.
Right.
So what he's saying, it doesn't actually match what he believes.
Right.
Which is a whole different
Which
conversation.
is a lot of humanity, let's be honest.
Yeah, a lack of humanity that they say something and then they don't actually mean it. But the bottom line with what I was saying with that is that we often, as human beings, we want the benefit of something and we don't want the responsibility. We don't want the cost. And so I think like through this process, like I've just been encouraged. I think personally, I feel like I've had the opportunity to. I'm not gonna say I have grown, but I've had the opportunity to grow. I've had the opportunity to like really see inwardly and understand some of the undealt things that would not have to be dealt with unless I was in relationship and on mission. Because that's the other thing. Like that's like relationship. This is the difference between relationship and mission, is that relationship doesn't have a common goal per se. You can have relatability in the goals that you are living, but mission is the same goal, right? And so the reason why that's more problematic is because mission now creates an opportunity for a wrestle between different parties that are trying to achieve the goal.
How do I achieve it? Yeah.
And so it's like what reminds me of that is like marriage, for example. Like marriage, a good marriage, like like two people that get married to have a great marriage, to be great parents, like all that stuff. They usually want to do the same good thing, but they have different ways of doing it, and they don't get in trouble because they have a different goal in mind. They get in trouble because they have a different way in mind. And that's encouraging to me because the problem would really, the really big problem would be if you just had a different goal.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like if you had a different goal, like if you get married to a person and that person's goal is just
to get divorced, and then yours is to stay married,
to sleep around, to, you know what I mean?
Yep.
But in marriage is a little bit harder or lighter than with parenting. You and I have lived this, right? Like when you have a little child, and we can call this our little baby, right? The podcast. When you have in like our business, this is bringing a lot of revelation. I feel like even as we talk, right? And then you have a certain way in which you put that baby to sleep, and a certain way in which you ensure that baby thrives,
or let them cry,
and let them cry, or how you let that thing suffer, or you let that thing die, or you let this thing fall through the cracks, or it's people that have a different manner of deep. It's good.
He's trying to grab me and I'm staying away from him.
People, bro, I'm gonna say this many times for in the future because God just gave me this. It just encourages my heart. It breeds peace in my heart for the people I love. God or people have different ways of deeply caring for the same thing.
Yeah, because they are.
Because they're deeply caring.
Because that's the difference. I feel like a lot of, I'll put it this way. I mean, there's statistics. So I don't even have to say I put it this way.
Hey, how much time do we have, Roe, before?
Well, that's what's hard. Well, I can't tell you because of this, but we do have some time. Okay. But statistically proven, like divorces and like things like that, right? The statistic of once you have children, the level of divorce like spikes, and it's already at like 55%, right? And statistically, just unsafe statistics, right? The fact of the matter that when you add another being into this, another mission, because again, even as marriage or mission is in reality married, my relationship, friendship, laughter, let's adventure, let's sit on the couch and do nothing. Like most marriage, I'm gonna be honest, most of my marriage is like, I just love you and I love you. That's my mission.
Let's have a peaceful,
joy-filled,
like environment here in the house.
Like whatever it is.
Nobody's doing too much. Nobody's being underserved. Like all that stuff.
Yeah, well, just in general, like for me, a relationship. I want my wife to know that she's loved and me to be loved and us to serve each other, like and move forward, right? While like you had a child, now you have a mission. I want to raise this kid to be the most loving, kind, fierce, passionate, driven, Jesus engulfed person ever. Wife, absolutely. Let's do that. Okay, cool. You start going, and 2 days in, 48 hours, you're over there believing, and this is my own, believing all right, my little girl, early age, she going to know that daddy and mommy love her, but she also needs to learn that she needs to be able to comfort herself a little bit, just a little bit.
Because one day in life, she's going
to have to, right? So I have such a longevity in mind.
Because one day I'm not going to be around.
One day I'm not going to be there. What if I am not there? What if I'm traveling? What if I'm in the bathroom? Like there's just like whatever it is. What if I just can't hear her? Whatever it is, right? I believe that her soul, even at this age, needs to be able to learn this slowly. You know, I'm not just going to throw her in a corner and figure it out. No, it's 2 days old, right? But on 48 hours, my wife and I start having conflict. And that conflict starts with, no, she's not crying.
Bro, this conversation is bringing so much revelation to me because it's so powerful because did you ever have as much conflict with your wife as you did after you had kids? You didn't. Let me ask you this next question. Did we ever have as much conflict as we've had ever since we had a business?
No.
We never even, bro, I don't think we ever even had
I never wanted to choke slam you ever.
No.
Now I want to choke slam you on every Tuesday.
Every Monday.
Every Monday. That's about right.
But it's really profound because this conversation is actually really encouraging me. We didn't plan it, but it's really encouraging me because again,
it's a mission.
Yeah,
it's the mission is in reality, our mission is to help people be prolific followers of Jesus.
Yeah.
But we both have
along with other missions we have as well.
But that's our biggest with the podcast. That's our big goal.
Yeah.
And like and yet we both have a different way of seeing how that fruit can be cultivated.
Right.
Now, this is a statement. I got 2 statements. Number 1, it's a funny one. And I don't even know who made this up, okay? It's not me, so haters, stay away from me. There's more than one way to skin a cat. So that statement of there's more than one way to skin a deer. You can
Are you afraid that the cat lovers are going to come up to you?
But there's more than that way, right? There's more than one way. Now, what does that mean? I don't care. You can start at the feet or the friggin' head. I don't care. Like it's just you've been trained a certain way. Do it the way that you've been gifted.
If you were skinning a cat,
right.
where would you start?
Gosh, right at the tail, right at the edge. No, I'm just kidding.
Where would you start?
I don't know. I never thought about that. I don't know. Don't put me on the spot. I don't know why you'd be skinning a cat. So that statement of there's more than one way to skin a cat, right? And it's a broad statement to say there's many ways to get to the end goal, right? Yet for some reason, because you start at the deer's hooves. And I start at its head, you and I get into conflict. The mission, the goal's the same ending.
Yeah.
To get the hide off so we can use it and utilize it, and the meat, like we can utilize it, right? But how you do it is very different. And how you were raised to do it, or trained to do it, or read to do it, or stumbled your way,
a belief to
or
do it.
stumbled into it because no one's ever taught you, so you just had to do it. You know, those things, like, again, fatherhood, motherhood, these things, like you may have never had a father. You may have been an orphan and no one's actually shown you how to father and mother. So you stumble into it and then you add someone into that life that now this mission, and you're like, well, this is just how I've always done it. This is what I've always been. Right. And I'm forgetting my second statement. But that alone, like just that is critical in life, because if we don't, if you think your way is the only way in leadership, I'm about to drop out. I'm gonna hold this for a second. Just hold it for a second.
Don't drop the Bible. Just drop something.
No, it's fine. You'll see why I'm about to drop this.
I feel like you're about to say something wise.
Oh my gosh, cling. It's rare. Listen up close.
It's rare. I can vouch for this.
I vouch for this. If you think your way is the only way, you're prideful. If you think your way is the only way, the correct way, the only way to do something, it could be leadership, build a business, make money. It could be, again, go follow anyone on Instagram. There's 9 different ways you can make money and become a millionaire.
Oh,
why? You could do it with debt. You can do it without debt. You can do it with investments. You can do it without investments. You can do it with a stock market. You should only do it in real estate.
You can do it remote. You can do it in person. You can go to school.
Guess what? Choose which one you want to do and try to go down that route.
Right.
Find an expert, learn from it. Right.
Right.
Now, this is where I'm going to drop something. There is one absolute. That there is one way, one truth, and that's Jesus. That is the only way that you need to be so guaranteed on and dead set on and have your heels sticked in the ground. Like don't go down Scientology. Don't go down the aspect of maybe Jesus and these things, maybe this stuff. No. Dig your heels in. If you're gonna have an absolute truth, an absolute way, life, like there is one
and there are
person.
some absolutes here, like along with Jesus.
Yes.
Like, how are you saved?
No, that's absolute.
Actually,
Jesus.
that's not absolute.
That's Jesus. No, I just mean Jesus is still the truth.
Jesus is the way.
Is the way.
The reason why I said that's not absolute because
we'll get into a whole other conversation. But the reason why I say this,
just so people don't think I'm a heretic. Let me just say what I was going to say. Yeah, because Jesus looked over at the man next to him on the cross and said, "I'll see you today in paradise." The man never got baptized and never professed salvation in Christ.
He professed that he was king. That he was God.
He said, "Would you remember me in your kingdom?"
In your kingdom,
yeah,
which means
but again,
king,
it's like, but we wouldn't formulate that. He put his faith in Christ.
Yeah, well,
right.
And can we just stop?
Does that make sense?
No, I know.
In his sacrifice,
he believed he died.
Put a semicolon. In fact, Jesus hadn't even died.
Put a semicolon.
This man's sins weren't even covered yet.
Put a semicolon on this. My dude.
We're getting in trouble. We're getting in trouble here. This is an exception moment. Let's not build our doctrine on an exception moment. But anyway, no, I do think that, like what you were saying in regards to like having a why does my leg look so white? Having a like absolutes about the way is definitely the first thing that gets tested in community. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's just, there's an endless amounts of things that we've encountered. And so all of that to say, to kind of resume that
stop trying to ask for people's platform and y'all just freaking,
be faithful,
be faithful, say yes,
be available
and say no. Don't try to force a door open if the Lord has closed it. Revelation says this, Lord will open a door that no man can shut, and he will shut doors that no man can open. We love open doors. We sing about it. Oh, open the door. Like we all the time. We get all fired up about it. I will not. And we get so fired up because this is humbling for me that I would pray, God, swing open the doors. Swing open the head, like swing it. And then but then guess what? Then I'll still stand there and wonder, God, is that the door I need to walk through? And then guess what? Then God will slam a door.
So I'm like, no, is that it?
Yeah. And then God will slam a door shut. And then we're like, but this is the door I want to go through. Is this the door, God? And God's like, that door I opened over there. You can just walk through it.
Yeah, so the bottom line is say no.
Like
say no as well.
Say no and say yes. But understand both of those cost you something. Every no costs you a yes, and every yes costs you a no. You need to think of that. The statement of every single time you say yes, you're saying no to something. And every time you say no, like you actually are saying yes to something else.
Every time you say no, you're saying no. Every time you're saying yes, you're saying no. So you're really always saying no.
You really are. Gasp.
Okay. Anyway, so
your stupidity is showing. I'm sorry.
So this is cool. I mean, just to kind of close off here, we just want to say for
thank you.
You know what else? I was gonna say as I say that thing before I say that thank you. Something else I appreciated about this season of my life is to not do things for the mass, but do things for the purpose God has for it, whatever that purpose is.
Bro, we used to joke around that like only our mothers were going to be listening to us.
Yeah, right.
We literally said your mom and my mom is going to listen. And genuinely, I mean, like at least for me, I don't really care if anyone listens.
No, that's the funny thing. I was going to say that. It's like
because we talk. It's actually on our YouTube. I saw it the other day. You and I started this for two reasons, really. To be obedient to the Lord, but also to leave a time capsule for our children.
That's right.
We started for our children to be able to hear our voice. Like this sounds really funny, and this is why
I love you, buddy.
Bro, this is
whenever
so
you
hard.
Watch this.
Come on,
probably gonna be older,
and little girl too. Come on, bro, you're a little girl, and heck, you could have 7 more. You never know. All of you. You know, we love you all.
I will say, like when we started the podcast, Selah wasn't even born.
Right, wasn't even a twinkle in your eye.
So he wasn't.
No, she was not pregnant.
She was not pregnant yet.
No, bro.
I think she was.
No, bro.
No.
Nah, homie. No.
Oh, no, she wasn't.
Yeah. Wasn't a twinkle in your eye.
No, yeah, she was, bro.
No, we started in January last year.
Yeah, we started in January, but she was born in April. So she wasn't pregnant for only 4 months.
I thought she was I'm very confused. We need to look back on time. Yeah, I apologize.
It was like Luca was on my heart, and so that's why I said buddy. But of course, this is for you too, baby Sayla.
Yeah. What's funny? So my daughter loves Doug. If you haven't watched Doug, it's Pixar's like the dog from Up. She loves Doug. She loves it. And the voice of Carl, the man that did that, actually passed away. And he passed away this past year. And every time I watch it, I have a realization of like death. But I also have a realization of the time we live in. Where in reality, like his family, his children, he was an older guy. His family, his children, grandchildren, like every time they watch Up, they get to, and probably many other things, they get to hear.
I hate Up.
Bro, it'll make you weep.
I hate Up.
I love it.
Up is...
I love it and I hate it. That's why I hate it.
Up destroys me every time. Up does not... There's no second in the movie Up where I get the joy back.
Even when Kevin shows up?
That they take away from me. In the first 2 minutes. It's unreal.
But that's reality.
I know.
That's the stuff that like...
No, and that's part of like...
And then to watch Carl...
That's another conversation we need to have, bro. Oh, we kind of did in Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But all
are you going to close this off, bro? Because these cameras are going to close off right now. What did we even talk about, guys?
We talked about a lot to
You've been watching us for 30 minutes.
Longer than that. We're in an hour. But overall,
hey.
Love you, man.
Love you, bro. Great job.
You too. Let's see what the Lord has in store for 2024.
Yes, sir.
Let's continue to leave just hopefully smart things and
wisdom.
If we
do this much longer, it's going to be a little weird.
Wonder Twins as a form of
I need a ring. I feel like I need a
as a form of a coffee cup. Wait, is it Wonder Twins? No, what is that? I don't remember what movie that was.
I don't know. You're the cultural reference guy.
I am the cultural reference guy. Yeah. But overall, we are grateful for every single person, whether you've listened to one episode, whether you've listened to all 52. We're grateful for those people, and even those people that have not sown financially into us, so we can keep doing this. Like we've had people sow financially, but most importantly, we've had people pray and fight for us in the spiritual realm, and so we're thankful for that. I mean it. Like if you guys have anything laying on your heart, I don't know if by this time I've been working on a website for us, and so that'll have like all the videos you can donate through the website. You can see, a lot of stuff. We're trying to work on merch just because we actually, I still have to send it. It is in my car. Lindsay, I repent before you. The woman that,
Lindsay, I would have sent it already if I knew who you are. Joey actually knows you and he hasn't sent it.
Is in my car.
I'm going to just so he owes me 2 nut shots. I'm adding a third one just for that.
That's very rude. But she was our 50th subscriber, and we're coming up on 100 right now.
Are we?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's crazy to like just we never, honestly.
That's not what it's for.
Like no, like the entire aspect is you wanted to share the word. We wanted to share our friendship. We wanted to leave stuff for our children.
Yeah.
We just wanted to conversate, talk, because a lot of these conversations are what we talk about at the dinner table or outside or at a coffee shop, whatever, like things like that. Like just, and so we wanted to bring other people in. Like
we're gonna finish here, eat lunch,
my boy,
and then we're gonna be talking about this stuff.
Yeah,
anyway.
my boy's an includer and I'm a gatherer, and so all we do is like we love having conversations with other people on the couch in different places in their settings, like hearing where they're at, their lives, their stories. Like we love telling people stories, and like we really, I know I ain't a bag of chips, bro. I'm a little crumb. I'm a little crumb in the Lord's hand, and bro, I'm just trying to be the best crumb.
Do you think you're a crumb for the kids at the table or the dogs on the floor?
I don't care. I don't care if the Lord uses me on the floor, or uses me on the table, or uses me in the trash can. Bro, wherever the Lord puts me,
come on,
it'll nourish something.
That's good, man.
That's all. Like, and it's just want to be a burning bush for people.
Hey, it's been fun, bro. Yeah, we're gonna keep doing this. I am encouraged. Like, I'm thinking. I'm glad you said that, man, on this year anniversary, that we did this to have a time capsule for our kids, because that just renewed in me a desire to really be purposeful about what's on this podcast.
Yep.
And so
we love you guys.
We love you. We're not making this for you, but thank you for being on the ride with us.
Yeah.
And when it does apply to you, we do pray and we ask God that that the Holy Spirit continues to give you so much revelation about whatever it is that is valuable to you on this podcast. And
if it changes you and impacts you and you like what's coming from this, again, we're not people that ask for this stuff, but like, just think of us. Pray about it. I mean, think about it. Pray about us.
Or don't. Or just pray.
Or ignore it. I don't care. Just fight
pray.
for it.
Yeah.
This is what I mean. I want you to be obedient to what the Lord is telling you to do. Because,
or if you're a Christian business and you care about what we do, why don't you just let us serve you?
Come on.
Let us serve you. Let us do work for you. And we love to do it.
Value exchange. Let's do it.
Anyway.
We love you guys.
Love you guys. Are you going to press the button?
Bro.
Press that button.
I'm so sorry. Here we go.
We need t-shirts that say that.
I pressed it. It didn't work.
This is why I do the buttons.
I wonder how fast I can make that button go.
Such a younger brother.
Right on the beat. Now you know how annoying you are.
You are never getting the buttons again. You know that?
All right.
Love you guys.
We love
See you guys
guys
next time.
Go be prolific. Be blessed.